Wetlands are the Earth's most threatened ecosystem, disappearing 3 times faster than forests. In the urban areas, there is indiscriminate encroachment for expansion of human settlements, while in the rural areas there is steady conversion of wetlands for agricultural use. In Uganda, wetlands continue to be degraded, and the current area of wetlands across the country is below that recorded in the 1990s. According to statistics from the Ministry of Water and Environment, in the 1990s, Uganda had 15.6% wetland coverage, which reduced to 13% in 2015. Of these, 8.9 were intact, while 4.1 were degraded.
But in the last 30 years, the wetland coverage has reduced from 15% to about 8%. And I can tell you, at the rate at which we are losing wetlands, it could be a problem in the next 20 to 50 years. We may find ourselves with no wetlands.
President Museveni has on several occasions condemned the growing practice of encroachment and degradation of wetlands, calling for all those settled in these areas to vacate.
Nobody should be allowed to interfere with the lakes, with the rivers, with the wetlands and the forests, because they are the ones which give us water in the form of rain, and they are the ones which conserve the water, and I was telling them that they also clean the water.
Just as forests are referred to as the lungs of the earth, wetlands are the kidneys that regulate water and filter waste from the landscape. They play vital ecological and socio-economic functions such as flood mitigation, water purification, erosion prevention, moderation of extreme flows of water, and maintenance of water tables in surrounding lands. And that's not all. They also provide habitat for numerous species of animals and plants that contribute to rich biodiversity. They provide essential food, medicines, water supply, and fisheries. Wetlands also help in nutrient retention, elimination of toxins, and tourism, among other benefits. Given the high rate of degradation, government working together with non-government organizations is however determined to reverse the trend through wetland restoration.
2020, Nature Uganda and a team of other civil society groups, including Uganda Biodiversity Fund, ECHO, and Wildlife Conservation Society, we came together and applied for a fund from European Union. Now, this fund was specific. It was to support restoration of areas that have been degraded or damaged by the presence or because of the presence of refugees.
One of the affected areas is Kamwenge district. Kasim Aliganyira is the district senior environment officer.
All the 30 wetlands, including the river, all were encroached on. All their parts were encroached on. We had some patches that were not encroached on. At least around 70% of those wetlands were encroached on.
The River Mpanga wetland system has also not been spared.
This is where we get water from, but people wash their motorcycles from the same water. Here, at least this one is just outside, but the same water, it goes back. Then we have a challenge of animals grazing, drinking from the same water that we also use.
This river that traverses a couple of districts of Kabarole, Chenjojo, Kamwenge and Kitagwenda is a source of water and electricity for some of them.
This is the national water station, whereby it draws its water from River Mpanga. This water is supplied to Kamwenge district, and it also serves part of Ibanda in Ishongoro, and of current, Ministry of Water and Environment is planning to put another plant in Busiriba, which will be supplying part of Chenjojo and Busiriba sub-county in Kamwenge Town Council. And we have a power station which is also supplying, where we get power that supplies Kamwenge and other neighboring districts.
To check encroachment on the wetlands in Kamwenge, the district, with support from the Uganda Biodiversity Fund, embarked on the demarcation of some wetlands in the area. Jjumbe Wetland is one of them.
And this is one of the areas that Kamwenge district chose, that UBF help us to do the demarcation of it so that we clearly indicate the buffer areas so that the communities know where they end and the area that is supposed to be protected.
This, as confirmed by some local area leaders, has helped in checking the encroachment and enabled regeneration of the wetlands.
Gayambere abo kuba emyanya yo neyigabiremo nababibe nimwe misirwa bagihamu kurango basiga ekishara kiriki aho katakirimo umuntu wena rukutahira ekishara.
At the beginning it was not easy, so it was not easy to conduct meetings, but later people got to know, they learned that we have to conserve the nature, so now at least it's easy now.
With several interventions put in place, government, together with partners, has been able to increase the number of intact wetland coverage, as confirmed by the State Minister for Environment, Beatrice Anywa.
We are beginning to see a positive trend with the intact wetland coverage now standing at 9.3%. Fellow countrymen, government has continued to put the wetland agenda at the forefront.
Internationally, Uganda ratified the Ramsar Convention and has a wide range of enabling legal framework in place. These include the National Wetlands Policy 1995, the National Environment Status 1995, and the National Guidelines for Wetland Resource Developers 1995, among others.
In 1995, wetlands were even introduced in the Constitution of Uganda, that wetlands will be held in trust for the people of Uganda. In actual fact, by law, wetlands are protected. We went ahead in 1995 to develop a wetland-specific policy. It was the second country in the world to develop a wetland-specific policy here in Uganda.
But why does encroachment continue despite such a robust array of legal instruments to protect the wetlands?
Minister of Water and Environment says we need to protect the wetlands. Minister of Agriculture says we need to increase rice production. And then they go into the wetlands and start cutting them down. You see the contradiction. So I think that those contradictions, they need to kind of be harmonized.
Communities which were encroaching on Rushango Wetland in Kamwenge through the restoration project have also been supported to improve their livelihoods. They have been equipped with sustainable farming and land management techniques and water and soil conservation skills.
Batuka nibatugamba tukole grupu bwe twamara okukora grupu nibaja nibatuyigiriza okulimo kw'omurembe.
The communities have also been supported to set up fish ponds as an alternative.
Like this, when we keep this area to be fresh, we can get more things from this area. We can gain oxygen from the wetland. You can gain more money. You can use this area to use these things which you have seen like fish ponds.
This is Rushango Wetland in Bihanga Sub-County in Kamwenge District. It's one of the wetlands that had been degraded to the ground. But due to intervention from the district and partners, it has naturally regenerated. The leaders here believe that through provision of alternatives, these ecosystems can be protected. Benjamin Jjumbe, NTV.